You're silent, Jennifer.
I see that now. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. These lovely faces here just had 3 rounds of awesome discussion about story keeping. If you're watching in the replay, I want to thank you for doing so and invite you to come back. I would like to see a thumbs up here from the group if you had fun tonight, learned something new, enjoyed your conversations, met someone. See, look at all these happy faces. So I really hope those of you watching in the replay join us next time. We do this every single month. It is so much fun. So in terms of story keeping, we tackled 3 questions tonight. How do you decide what stories to scrapbook next, and where does story really come into that process for you? How do you currently record story ideas, if at all? And what options do you want to try in the future based on your experiences thus far? And our participants here have been kind of filling their brains with lots of ideas, and I can't wait to hear all of their nuggets. Before we get into that, I do want to do one quick share here. Got something so fun to share. I love this part. All right. This is everyone's first sneak peek of issue 87 of Spark Magazine. This comes out later tonight. Need to do one last round of proofreading, but we are so excited. We are doing these double issues now that are so beautiful. I actually didn't check the page numbers on this one. We are at 106 pages. So just so much goodness. And of course, 106 ad-free pages. So this is a big honking magazine. And I'm just so excited to flip through a little bit with you tonight. So we do this in order to help celebrate the work of our creative team, to give our members new inspiration, to help you think about things in a little bit of a different way. And of course, that simple scrapper way. We do things a little bit differently around here. And of course, we have 2 featured artists for every single issue. One is more of our design featured artist and inspires our new collection of sketches and templates. And then we also have a kind of style featured artist who inspires our challenge. And our creative team works all these pages to create so many beautiful examples, and also to just share so much additional wisdom. Every single layout, we ask our team to share a tip. So you've got like technique tips, design tips, storytelling tips, you know, things that you would have never even thought of, just those little extra insights. And so we are so proud of this every single month or every other month. And yeah, and of course we have storytelling prompts in here as well. And this particular series, time after time, it's 12 prompts, but they're really fascinating ones that help you connect things across time and look at stories in new ways. And the layouts that our team made for these are just amazing, story-filled, story-rich pages. And of course, we get into here to our style section, and the style motif and challenge is hearts and love. And of course, we had many Valentine's Day layouts come out of this. And hearts are, of course, just a beautiful, easy motif, but can we peel back the layers and go a little bit deeper and really have fun with that as an item on our page? And then, of course, we have our sketch remix. We ask our team, and a lot of times this is challenging our team to create 2-page layouts from our existing sketch library, and then we compile those and we select 3 new ones to create 3 brand new sketches. And of course, we have the layered template version for all 582 of our items in our library. We have a vast library that's searchable by number of photos. And yeah, we're super proud of everything that we do inside the membership. So if you are not yet a member, I would love for you to join us. And this is really just the tip of the iceberg, because tomorrow kicks off our next refresh retreat. This is a 4-day experience where we give you 4 little activities related to our theme. So these are all storytelling activities. They're very doable. And we also give you different levels. So you can do just a little bit to get started, to get your feet wet, or you can go in a little bit deeper and finish some pages. But we really try to make it a kind of choose your own adventure experience. So the theme of our retreat is fairy tales. So we've got a Snow White activity, a Sleeping Beauty activity, a Princess and the Frog activity, and a Beauty and the Beast activity. I'm really excited about this one. We've really been able to kind of capture some of the things that our community has been talking about, some of our recent podcast episodes, and it's going to be so fun. And really the highlight tomorrow night, we have a keynote presentation from our creative team member, Audrey Med, who is going to be sharing her process of creating crafty mind maps. And she's been preparing all week for this. We are meeting actually tonight to review her presentation, and it's going to be so fun. You can see more examples of what those are on the Simple Scrapper Instagram account. But it's really this kind of very visual way of taking a story of a single story, a month, a time period, or many things over time, and organizing them into a mind map. And it's so fun, and I can't wait to challenge all of our members to create one of their own. So that will be tomorrow night, kind of same time as this, same format on Zoom. So I hope to see you all back for then. But for now, let's jump into our conversation, story keeping. What did you learn tonight?
Okay, Tina, do you want to talk about your use of technology? Because like, it's mind blowing. Otherwise, I'll do it for you if you don't want to talk. But
yeah, that's fine. I was talking to my granddaughter over here. She thought that was great about the princesses. So, yeah, I was telling the story about my husband and I were traveling in the car, and I was trying to get his story about his hobby of 3D printing. And he usually talks everyone's ear off about it, but the minute you ask him to write down why he does it and what he likes about it, all of a sudden he doesn't know what to say. So I decided while we were in the car, I would just use my phone, and I turned on the recorder, and I just started asking him questions, and we were talking back and forth, and we were getting down exactly what I needed for the story. So yeah, it worked out great.
I love that. You know, sometimes it's not even, you know, it's not complicated newfangled technology. It's, you know, just the devices that we have in our hands can be captured and allow us to get stories that maybe he would never sit down and write that out, but he will talk to you about it. So I love that so much. All right, what else?
Yes, and Kim mentioned how, you know, you can use the same technique for heritage scrapbooking. I've done that with my mother and an aunt and an uncle, just, you know, shown them photographs, old family photographs I had, and asked them to comment and tape their responses. So
yeah, I love that.
I will say that Mary Ann talked about different ways of how we keep track of our stories, which I thought was really interesting, because the idea of like, well, obviously you think of like a journal and your photos, but she also talked about like calendars and old emails, and how I think Tina St. Peter had talked about how if you go back through like your calendar, how like it kind of almost puts you back in that time period where you can kind of like picture things, and it kind of sparks more stories. And so really, again, it's kind of like nothing new, original, like you already have like a calendar, you're already using email, but to remember that sometimes those hold a lot of stories that you can kind of mine. Or if you have a story and you're not sure on some details, like those are places you can go.
And your social media accounts too, going back through Facebook or Instagram if you're posting someplace regularly. Even your, you know, your text messages and your Facebook messages. You know, I've gone back years of Facebook messages to see conversations my mom and I have had on there. So.
yeah, we talked about tagging photos too in Lightroom. I mean, I tag them in the Photoshop elements, and that's kind of, you know, your tags are a reminder too, in a way, of the kind, you know, of the stories that are associated with your photos. So
Well, adding on to that as well, if you really want to get nitty gritty, you can, start jotting down even just a few thoughts and phrases in the metadata of your photos to be able to keep it there connected to the picture.
We had a lot of different technological approaches to keeping track of stories. So some people use Trello, some people use like a daily app where they had a memory from that day over years. I personally use the Start Fresh planner that you did in 2015 and then move them into Trello. So I have both the physical copy and a digital copy of storytelling. And yeah, there was a lot of different ways of doing the same thing.
Well, I think in just the examples that you've shared, that there's the idea of leaving breadcrumbs for yourself, whether intentionally or not. We're already doing some of that. You can do that more intentionally by keeping a calendar or doing memory planning type things, or being more intentional about sharing on social media. And that's kind of breadcrumbs for yourself. But then there's I've identified a story that I want to scrapbook and keeping that idea. So they're kind of two separate things, because there's all the data that we are really keeping, and a lot of it is on the web that we're putting out there. And then there's what are the specific things that you want to become scrapbook pages.
Yeah, and Colette had a really interesting way of keeping track of current stories too, that you may want to share, Colette.
Oh, you're muted, Colette. There you go.
Well, what I had shared with my group was that each day, at the end of the day, I will chronicle the pictures that I've taken that day, and some ideas of what I might want to journal about those pictures. And I've got a specific planner that I keep, and for me that works. Just doing it on a consistent basis daily just helps me to track those things, and because otherwise I will not remember, certain details, and it makes it so much harder when I'm journaling. Because I shared with my group that my goal this year is actually to finish my 2021 album on time, and I'm going to make that happen. And so it means that I need to be tracking these things and the details, because I'm realizing as I'm trying to finish this, keep up with this album, that journaling actually takes a lot of time. And it's not something I actually realized before, because I've never finished an album. I have a lot of albums, and I've never finished one of them. And I'm like realizing now, gee, I understand why now, because the journaling part takes a lot of time, especially if you're not keeping track of the details. On a daily basis, it just makes it so much quicker, because then you can look at your notes and go, oh yeah, that's right. It just goes much faster. So, that's what I had shared with the group, is what I'm doing. And so I'll let you know at the end of the year how that worked, but we'll see. I'm going to finish this album.
I'm committed to finishing mine on time as well. So I'm there with you. All right. Other things.
I think it's kind of interesting. I was thinking of this through each of the different sessions, even though we didn't explicitly talk about it. But I think that it seems like different people come at story keeping differently depending on how they got into scrapbooking. So I started, doing photo albums. And so my journaling has always been very label kind of like these are the people, here's what we were doing, here's the overall context. Whereas if you come from a more journaling perspective, you might be more inclined to do like a list of stories and then find photos to fit. Versus coming from a craft perspective, you want to do it, for a fun craft, and then you get into scrapbooking, you might do it an entirely different way. So I think trying to change my approach to mix it up into some of those other approaches, like how would I have come at this if I was coming from a journaling perspective, can change up how you might do memory keeping.
Yes, I love that. I think anytime, both with your example and Colette's, anytime you can be more aware of your past experiences, the way your brain naturally works, and to think, okay, how can I leverage what I naturally do, and then maybe combine one or two new ideas to evolve and grow to get more of your needs met in the future. I love that. Any other light bulb? Okay, Kim, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so Colette had also talked about the idea of like revisiting it, like making it a habit, like she does it every day. And I will say that's one thing I feel like was a turning point with me. So within the members where we have the creative hub class, and so I have a Trello board, and that's where I kind of keep track of all my scrappy things, including like stories I wanted to tell. But I think a turning point for me is that I set a reminder, like the first of the month-ish, I go in and I review that Trello board. So a lot of times I'm in there more often throughout the month, but if it's been a busy month, like that's my reminder to go in and see like, okay, hey, like where am I at? Like, have I told these stories that I kind of had intended to? And then I also will pull out like from my bigger list of stories. I usually have them categorized by kind of which album I think they'll go in. I will pull out like 3 or so per month that are kind of like, I think these will be the next one I want to work on. And it's not very rigid. It's like, if I feel like doing something else, I will. But that kind of gives me a starting point. And I think it helps with that overwhelm of like, I have, 100 stories I could tell. Like, which one do I pick? Well, at some point I've already gone in and said like, these look like fun ones to do. I'll do these next. And if I do, great. And if I don't, that's okay.
Well, I love how when you have that, you can then pair those story ideas with maybe some sort of creative inspiration that you have, like that's in front of you, whether that's physically or digitally, whether it's a new kit that's come in or a technique you want to try, a video you watched. You're like, oh, I could take this and I could take this, and then I could put them together and make a page. And you get, I hate the word synergy, it's very corporate, but that's exactly what happens there.
Can't remember who said it, but in one of the groups, one of the ladies said that the stories that we really want to tell will bubble to the top. So we're never going to run out of stories, but it's just what strikes us in the moment it'll come out if it wants to come out, and the other ones we just let go of.
Yes. So that's actually in my article in Spark this month. Is the last tip on story keeping is it's okay to actually intentionally choose to not keep them all. To actually even say, I'm going to just scrapbook whatever I want to do next, and trust that if the idea is awesome enough, it's going to come back to me. Now, I know we all are trusting our memories less and less the more we age, but the ideas do come back because you see a photo, you have a conversation with somebody, and we know that there's so many stories, more than we could ever tell. Sometimes we just need to focus on what is the one next thing that I want to do, and kind of let go of keeping all the rest, because then it can sometimes feel like a weight. So I also want to encourage you to think about what you've done in the past, and if really it's keeping them hasn't really worked for you, it's okay to not be a story keeper. It doesn't mean you're not a storyteller. All right. We have 2 minutes left. Any final thoughts for tonight?
Well, just related to what you just said, it's a fine line between having a list of stories to choose from to see which ones rise to the top and do, and having a to-do list.
Yes.
Which we never want when we're trying to have fun, right? So there is that, it is, I think, a fine balance between, and it's letting the ones go that don't resonate after, if they've been on the list for a while and you haven't done it, then perhaps you could let it go and not have that as a nagging to do.
Yeah, they can be morphed into something else. Like, can I take that idea and this idea and this idea and make a big compilation layout of those 3 ideas together? Sometimes just one little seed can turn into something else that's even better. It allows you that feeling of letting go. So it's not about the quantity, it's about just getting a good story captured. Okay, well, this was fabulous. I hope to see you all tomorrow night at our Refresh kickoff and Audrey's keynote presentation. If you're not yet a member, you can go to simplescrapper.com/membership to sign up. My family just came in the house, so I apologize for that. And I hope you have a wonderful week. and you have lots of scrappy time on your horizon. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Good night.
Night, ladies.
Bye.